There are times in life when everything seems to fall apart around us, when we look in the mirror and no longer recognize who we are, when each morning seems harder than the last, and the weight of the world presses down on our shoulders until we can barely stand. Maybe you're going through that right now. Maybe you've lost someone you loved, or a job that gave your life meaning. Maybe you're facing an illness, a breakup, or simply that overwhelming feeling that nothing makes sense anymore. If you've made it here, to this video, it's because a part of you still believes there's a way out. And you're right. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it won't come from the outside in. It needs to be lit by you, with the right tools and the right wisdom. Today, we'll embark on an extraordinary journey through the teachings of one of the wisest masters in the galaxy, combining his ancient wisdom with the profound principles of Stoicism. Master Oron, a small but incredibly wise sage, carries in his words centuries of wisdom that can completely transform how you see life's challenges. Over the next few minutes, you'll discover 22 powerful teachings that have the potential to reignite the flame of hope in your heart, restore your inner strength, and guide you back to the path of peace and personal fulfillment. Life, even in its darkest moments, carries within it a creative and regenerative force. Observe nature. After the harshest winter, spring always returns. After the darkest night, dawn always breaks. This same force that pushes plants through concrete, that heals wounds and regenerates cells, is operating within you at this very moment. When you align yourself with this energy, when you cease resisting the natural processes of growth and transformation, you begin to experience true hope, not as a fantasy, but as a real and tangible force. Teaching 5. Control, control, you must learn control. This is perhaps one of the most fundamental teachings of both Jedi philosophy and Stoicism. Master Oron is alerting us to the vital importance of self-control, especially during times of emotional crisis. When we lose hope, it's often because we allow our emotions to completely take over our minds, creating an internal storm that obscures our ability to think clearly and act wisely. The control Master Oron speaks of is not about suppressing emotions or pretending we don't feel pain. It's about developing the ability to observe our internal states without being completely overwhelmed by them. It's about creating space between stimulus and response, where we can consciously choose how to react. When you develop this kind of control, you discover that you possess far more power over your life experience than you imagined. You can feel sadness without being destroyed by it. You can face fear without being paralyzed by it. You can experience pain without losing hope. Teaching 6. A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack. This teaching reveals the importance of using our inner strength constructively rather than destructively. When we are suffering, it's natural to develop an attacking mentality. We attack ourselves with brutal self-criticism. We attack others with guilt and resentment. We attack life with bitterness. Master Oron teaches us that true wisdom lies in channeling our energy towards growth and protection, not destruction. In Stoicism, we learn that we can use our challenges as opportunities to develop virtues such as courage, patience, compassion, and wisdom. Every difficulty we face is a chance to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. When you begin to see your problems as teachers instead of enemies, you completely transform your relationship with suffering. You begin to use your pain as fuel for growth, your frustration as energy for positive change, your experience as wisdom to help others going through similar situations. Teaching 7. Hurry you have, but patience you need. We live in an age of instant gratification, where we expect everything to happen quickly. When we're suffering, we want the pain to go away immediately. When we're lost, we want to find our way now. Master Oron teaches us that healing, growth, and transformation are processes that require time and patience. Hurry, especially when we're vulnerable, can lead us to make rash decisions that only increase our suffering. Patience is not passivity or resignation. It's the wisdom of understanding that some things cannot be forced or rushed. It's the ability to continue taking the right actions even when the results aren't immediately visible. When you cultivate patience, you develop an inner strength that allows you to persevere through the most difficult moments. You learn to trust the process, to have faith that your consistent actions will eventually bear fruit, even if you can't see them yet. Teaching 8. Many truths we depend on, much depend on our point of view. This teaching is a profound lesson about the nature of reality and how our perception shapes our experience. When we lose hope, it's often because we fixate on a single perspective of the situation, usually the most negative one. Master Oron reminds us that truth is multifaceted and that by shifting our perspective, we can discover aspects of reality that were previously invisible to us. In Stoicism, this idea is central. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you understand that your life experience is largely determined by how you interpret events, not by the events themselves, you gain extraordinary power. You can choose to focus on the lessons instead of the problems, on the possibilities instead of the limitations, on the growth instead of the loss. This shift in perspective doesn't negate the reality of pain, but places it within a broader and more constructive context. Teaching 9. Do or do not. There is no try. Returning to this fundamental teaching, but now with a deeper understanding. Master Oron is teaching us about the power of total commitment. When you are facing life's darkest moments, you need to make a definitive choice. Will you fight for your recovery and growth, or will you surrender to despair? There is no real middle ground in this choice. Trying is a form of self-sabotage because it keeps a door open for failure. When you genuinely decide that you will heal, that you will grow, that you will find meaning again, you mobilize inner resources you didn't even know you possessed. This decision doesn't guarantee that it will be easy, but it guarantees that you won't give up at the first difficulty. It's a declaration of war against hopelessness, an alliance with the forces of healing and growth that exist within you. Teaching 10. Master of nothing you are, Luke, master of all you can be. This teaching contains a paradoxical truth. Humility is the path to mastery. When we honestly acknowledge our current limitations, we open ourselves up to unlimited growth. Often, when we are suffering, we oscillate between two destructive extremes. Either we consider ourselves completely inadequate and worthless, or we close ourselves off in defensive patterns that prevent learning. Master Oron is teaching us that there's a third way, acknowledging that you don't master everything now, but that you possess the potential to master anything you choose to develop. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to become a master of something new, a master of patience, a master of resilience, a master of compassion, a master of wisdom. When you embrace this perspective, every difficulty becomes a stepping stone on your journey of growth instead of an insurmountable obstacle. Lesson 11. Believe in yourself and half the battle is won. The battle for hope is fought first and foremost on the terrain of the mind. Your belief in yourself is the fuel that powers all other efforts. When you genuinely believe in your ability to overcome challenges, you mobilize internal resources that remained dormant. When you doubt yourself, you sabotage your own efforts before you even begin. This belief is not a fantasy or self-delusion. It's the recognition of a fundamental truth. You've already overcome 100% of the toughest days of your life so far. You faced pains you thought you couldn't bear. You found strengths you didn't know you possessed. You've gotten back up when it would have been easier to stay down. This is concrete evidence of your ability to overcome adversity. When you trust this evidence, you build a solid foundation to face any future challenge. Lesson 12. The fear of loss is a pathway to the dark side. One of the primary sources of human suffering is our dysfunctional relationship with loss. We spend so much time fearing the loss of what we love that we forget to fully appreciate what we have. Master Oron teaches us that this fear of loss can consume us from within, creating a life lived in constant anxiety and destructive attachment. In Stoicism, we learn to practice loss meditation, periodically imagining the loss of the people and things we love, not to create suffering, but to cultivate gratitude and acceptance. When you accept that loss is a natural part of life, you stop wasting energy trying to control the uncontrollable and can focus on truly appreciating what you have in the present moment. This acceptance is not pessimism, but a form of realistic optimism that allows you to live with more freedom and less fear. Lesson 13. Powerful you will become, Skywalker, but patience you must have. This lesson reminds us that true power, the ability to transform yourself and positively influence the world around you, is the result of a gradual process of development. When we are suffering, we often want immediate power to change our situation. Master Oran teaches us that real power requires time, practice, and above all, patience. Developing inner strength is like the growth of a tree. You can't see the progress day by day, but month by month, year by year, if you continue to nourish your roots with healthy practices and mental discipline, you will become a force of nature. Every day of practicing gratitude, every moment of meditation, every choice to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively is building your inner strength. Trust the process, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Lesson 14. Great warrior, wars make no one great. This profound lesson cautions us against the glorification of conflict and struggle. When we are suffering, it's easy to develop a warrior mentality. War against our feelings, war against circumstances, war against other people. Master Oran teaches us that true greatness doesn't come from winning external battles, but from finding inner peace. In Stoicism, we learn that the greatest victory we can achieve is the victory over ourselves, over our fears, our destructive impulses, our tendency to blame external factors for our unhappiness. When you stop fighting life and start flowing with it, when you stop resisting the lessons it's trying to teach you, you discover a kind of strength that is far more powerful than any strength based on conflict. It's the strength of acceptance, wisdom, and inner peace. Lesson 15. Focus on the moment. Feel, don't think. One of the main sources of suffering is our tendency to live either in the past, ruminating on mistakes and losses, or in the future, worrying about potential problems. Master Oran teaches us the importance of anchoring our consciousness in the present, where life actually happens. When you are fully present, connected with your immediate sensations and experiences, mental suffering diminishes drastically. The feeling that Master Oran mentions isn't about being overwhelmed by emotions, but about developing a sensory and intuitive awareness that complements rational thought. When you stop obsessively analyzing your problems and start simply experiencing the present moment, you often discover that the situation isn't as terrible as your mind was painting it. You find small moments of beauty, peace, and even joy, even amidst difficulties. Lesson 16. Difficult to see, always in motion is the future. This lesson frees us from paralyzing anxiety about the future. When we lose hope, it's often because we paint catastrophic scenarios about what's to come. Master Oran reminds us that the future is fundamentally uncertain, and that this uncertainty is in fact a source of hope, not despair. If you can't predict with certainty that bad things will happen, you also can't predict that good things won't happen. The uncertainty of the future means there's always room for positive surprises, for unexpected opportunities, for cures that seemed impossible. When you accept this uncertainty instead of fighting against it, you can focus your energy on what truly matters, making the best choices possible in the present moment, knowing that this will positively influence whatever future may unfold. Lesson 17. When you succeed, different you will be. This teaching contains a powerful promise. The person who overcomes great challenges is not the same person who initially faced them. You don't return to your previous state after significant hardship. You transform into something stronger, wiser, more compassionate. Each challenge you face has the potential to develop aspects of your personality that would remain dormant in easy times. Adversity can reveal courage you didn't know you possessed, can cultivate deep compassion for others who suffer, can create practical wisdom that no book could teach. When you understand that you are being forged by your experiences, you can find meaning and purpose even in the most difficult situations. Teaching 18, train yourself to let go of everything you fear losing. This is perhaps one of the most challenging and liberating teachings. Master Oren is teaching us that much of our suffering comes from our desperate attachment to people, situations, and things that are, by nature, subject to change and loss. Letting go doesn't mean ceasing to care, but rather loving without possessing, caring without controlling. In Stoicism, we learn that we are temporary guardians of everything we consider ours: our health, our relationships, our possessions, even our own lives. When you accept this temporality instead of denying it, you stop wasting energy on impossible struggles and can focus on fully appreciating what you have while you have it. This acceptance isn't pessimism, but a form of optimism that allows you to live with more freedom and less fear. Teaching 19, you must unlearn what you have learned. When we lose hope, it's often because we're operating on limiting beliefs we've learned throughout life. Master Oren teaches us that part of the journey of growth involves questioning and discarding ideas that prevent us from seeing new possibilities. You may have learned that you are unworthy of love, that you are incapable of overcoming certain difficulties, that life is fundamentally cruel or meaningless. The process of unlearning is challenging because it requires you to question truths that seemed absolute. But when you manage to release these limiting beliefs, you open space for new, more empowering understandings. You may learn that you are more resilient than you thought, that you deserve love and happiness, that life, while challenging, is rich in meaning and possibilities. This mental re-education is one of the most powerful keys to restoring hope and the joy of living. Teaching 20, what you do is important, not what you think. This teaching frees us from the mental paralysis that often accompanies periods of depression and hopelessness. When we are suffering, it's easy to get trapped in negative thought loops, obsessively analyzing our problems without ever taking constructive action. Master Oren reminds us that real transformation happens through action, not through thought. You don't have to wait to feel better to start acting constructively. In fact, it's often the opposite. You feel better because you started acting constructively. Small, consistent actions, like walking for 10 minutes, writing 3 things you're grateful for, or making a call to a friend, can create significant changes in your emotional and mental state. Action is the antidote to rumination and the key to breaking cycles of destructive thinking. Teaching 21, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. This teaching connects us with a fundamental truth about our nature. When we are suffering, we tend to identify completely with our pain, our physical limitations, our external circumstances. Master Oren reminds us that we are much more than these temporary experiences. There is a luminous essence within you that remains intact even in the darkest moments. This inner light is your capacity to grow, to love, to create meaning, to transcend difficult circumstances. It is not destroyed by trauma, it is not diminished by failure, it is not extinguished by loss. When you manage to connect with this luminous essence through meditation, contemplation, service to others, or the search for meaning, you discover a source of strength that is truly inexhaustible. You realize that no matter what is happening externally, there is something within you that remains whole and powerful. Teaching 22, always two there are, a master and an apprentice. This final teaching reminds us that we are simultaneously students and teachers on our life journey. You are learning from your experiences, but you are also preparing to share that wisdom with others who will face similar challenges. Every difficulty you overcome benefits not only you, but also all the people you will be able to help in the future. When you understand that your experiences have value not only for your own transformation, but also for the growth of others, you find a deeper meaning to your suffering. You are not going through this in vain. You are being forged into someone capable of offering light to others who are in darkness. This perspective transforms you from a victim into a hero of your own journey and a mentor for the journeys of others. The journey we have traveled together today through these 22 teachings is not just a collection of inspiring ideas. It's a map for your personal transformation. Every word Master Oren offers, every Stoic principle we explore, every reflection we share is a tool you can use to rebuild your life on a more solid and wiser foundation. You have reached the end of this journey, and that in itself is a victory. It demonstrates that there is a strength within you that is seeking growth, healing, and hope. This strength is not accidental. It is the expression of the inner light that Master Oren recognizes in all of us. Now you possess not only inspiration, but the practical tools to begin applying these teachings in your daily life. Remember, real transformation doesn't just happen through intellectual understanding, but through consistent practice. Choose one or two of these teachings that resonated most with you and start applying them today. Be patient with yourself, be consistent in your efforts, and trust the growth process unfolding in your life. If this video touched your heart and offered something valuable to your journey, I invite you to share it with someone who might be going through tough times. Sometimes a single perspective can completely change the course of a life. Leave a comment about which teaching impacted you most. Your reflection might inspire other viewers facing similar challenges. And if you wish to continue this journey of growth and wisdom, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. We're building a community of people committed to personal growth and inner transformation. Together, we can create a space where ancient wisdom meets modern life, where profound teachings become practical tools for a fuller and more meaningful life. May the Force be with you, and may these teachings be beacons of light on your journey back to hope, purpose, and the joy of living. Until our next encounter, keep practicing, keep growing, and always remember, the light you seek already exists within you.